Please subscribe the channel and hit the like button. The Wagner private military company, led by Evgeny Prigozhin, launched a coup attempt in Russia that began on Friday evening and lasted through Saturday. The armed contractors managed to seize an army headquarters in the southern part of the country. However, they failed to rally other units, and eventually aborted their advance towards Moscow after a deal was reached with authorities. The agreement, which includes amnesty for Prigozhin, was brokered by Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko. Simmering Wagner mob tension. The private military company Wagner Group was founded by restaurateur and catering tycoon Evgeny Prigozhin. The group's members fought alongside regular Russian troops and distinguished themselves in the bloody battle for the Donbass city of Artyomovsk, known to Ukrainians as Bakhmut. Prigozhin is a vocal critic of the country's top military brass. He has publicly accused Defense Minister Sergey Shoigu and General Valery Gerasimov, the chief of the General Staff, of mishandling the military operation in Ukraine. Prigozhin has also refused to sign an official contract with the Russian Defense Ministry. Prigozhin begins march on Moscow. Late on Friday, Prigozhin accused the Russian military of striking Wagner's field camps. The MOD quickly rejected his claim as informational provocation. Nevertheless, Prigozhin announced that his forces were beginning the march for justice with a plan to reach Moscow. In the early hours of Saturday, an armored Wagner convoy, which included tanks, rolled into the southern city of Rostov-on-Don. In the city, Wagner members took control of the headquarters of the southern military district without a fight. Several gunshots were heard in Rostov later during the day, but no casualties were reported. Putin condemns revolt. Shortly after Prigozhin declared his march, the Federal Security Service accused the Wagner boss of inciting an armed rebellion and opened a criminal case against him. In a video address on Saturday morning, President Vladimir Putin said that Wagner's actions were tantamount to treason, describing them as the backstabbing of our country and our people. He called for unity and stated that all necessary steps were taken to restore order. Meanwhile, anti-terrorism measures were enacted in Moscow and the surrounding Moscow region. All public events were cancelled in several cities, and traffic down major highways leading to Moscow was suspended. At the same time, Prigozhin's endeavor had failed to attract support from other military units. On the contrary, several high-profile commanders and officials called on Wagner to lay down arms. Mutinous unit turns back after deal reached on Saturday evening. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko, who had spoken to Prigozhin on Putin's behalf, said that the Wagner boss agreed to end his attempt at insurrection in exchange for security guarantees. Prigozhin stated hours later that the Wagner convoys were halting their advance towards Moscow and were returning to their bases. After some time, the regional authorities confirmed that Wagner fighters left Rostov-on-Don. The Kremlin said that, in order to avoid bloodshed, the case against Prigozhin would be dropped, and that he would leave for Belarus. Putin's spokesman Dmitry Peskov added that Wagner members would not be prosecuted due to their achievements on the front line in Ukraine.